Good afternoon, everybody. Chop Martin Millet here. Hope you're going well. I've decided today that because I live not far from where Paul Di'Anno is buried, that I'm gonna go out and visit his grave. He's been gone for 7 months now because he passed away the 21st of October last year. And how I don't forget the day is because that was the day after I saw Dream Theater the O2. Now, I was really grateful that I got to see Paul Di'Anno in Sydney, Australia in 2009, where he played songs off his first two Iron Maiden albums and some other solo stuff. And even trash talked his old bandmates on the gig. So, before we visit his grave, we're going to do a bit of a read up about his Wikipedia. So his birth name was actually Paul Andrews, but he called himself on stage Paul Di'Anno as a claim of Italian ancestry. His father had dual British and Brazilian citizenship, so I guess he has a bit of a linkage towards Italian heritage through his father. Even though Andrews, that's more of a Celtic surname. Yeah. He was the lead singer from Iron Maiden from 1978 to 1991, and his post-Iron Maiden career, Di'Anno issued numerous albums over the years, as well as a solo artist as a member of bands like Gog, Magog, Di'Anno's Battlezone, Killers, Rockefeller, and Warth. And he also performed in Praying Mantis for the recording of their 1990 live album, Live at Last. Praying Mantis is a new album band that I've never seen live, and I've been in Britain for like almost 10 years. I should see them live if I can. He was born in Chingford in Essex, 17th of May 1958, and he passed away in Salisbury, in Wiltshire, on 21st of October 2024. So, the early years of Paul Di'Anno. Di'Anno was born in Chingford, Essex, where he also grew up. He spent his teenage years singing in various rock bands and working as a butcher in Station Road and a chef in hotels and restaurants. In the Iron Maiden years, so 78 and 81, according to Iron Maiden's A History of Iron Maiden Part 1, the early days DVD, Di'Anno was introduced to the band by drummer Doug Sampson and old friend Steve Harris, Iron Maiden's founder and bass player. From his days in the band Smiler, it was around the time he first adopted the stage name Di'Anno, which he would later use to claim Italian descent. The first edition was Rod Smallwood, apparently found when Di'Anno was arrested for showing off his pocket knife in public. The band's 1980 self-titled release quickly became acknowledged as a classic of its genre as the band merged punk energy with metal riffs and progressive rock complexity, served as a blueprint for such future genres as thrash metal and speed metal, and later progressive metal bands. In 2021 saw the release of the second album Killers, as well as a Stopgate live EP made in Japan. Iron Maiden decided that to progress they would have to find a singer capable of being on tour. They found replacement the former Samson frontman Bruce Dickinson. Di'Anno's last show with the band was the 10th of September 1981 at the Old Fellow Mansion in Copenhagen. In 1981 he left Iron Maiden after a meeting with the band and the manager Rod Smallwood. Di'Anno was paid out by Smallwood at the time of his departure and did receive royalties and songwriting credits. So, I always thought that Paul Di'Anno was sacked from Iron Maiden because of drug use. I mean, yeah, of course they were all using drugs at the time, but I guess maybe Paul Di'Anno always had an excess of using drugs. But also, let's not forget, like, in the future, Paul Di'Anno lived in America because he had an American girlfriend, but because of, domestic violence, cocaine possession, and workman possession, he was jailed for a couple of months and then deported from America, sent back to England. He also broke the law in Britain, where he basically claimed benefits, even though he was still receiving income through music-related activities. Because it was kind of funny, he was imprisoned it was around 2011, that was a couple of years after I saw him in Sydney, Australia. And that was basically just like benefit frauds. I mean, come on, what kind of idiot claims a doll and still works? Like in my country, you're either working or you're on the dole. You can't be doing both because that's like double dipping. A lot of people think that, you know, there are some Iron Maiden fans who really despise Bruce Dickinson Iron Maiden. They're like, oh, I lost it at Iron Maiden after Bruce Dickinson joined. Because when you come to think about it, there's a golden rule in new album, new wave of British heavy metal, that anything after Paul Di'Anno in 1981 is not a new album for Iron Maiden. It's like you also can't call a band like Judas Priest new album. You can't call a band like Def Leppard new album despite the first EP. And yeah, but also Iron Maiden went through many different singers in their entire career. I mean, Bruce Dickinson had 2 stints with the band, and then of course there was Blaze Bayley. But Iron Maiden and Killer's albums were really inspiring to a lot of bands. But let's also not forget, Iron Maiden's third album, the first album they made with Bruce Dickinson, with like The Trooper, Run to the Hills. That was even played in its entirety by the band Dream Theater when they performed in Tokyo. So I'm gonna go out right now, take the bus, and give visit Paul Di'Anno's grave. Pay my respects to a legend. Because as I'm growing older in life, I'm starting to see a lot of the people that I saw live are just starting to pass away like these days. Like last year, I had to add Paul Di'Anno to my memorial wall of artists that I saw live who have passed on. So let's go. I'm just heading off to Manor Park Cemetery. Yeah, only about like 20 minutes to get there. Going through like East London. So yeah, a bit of a short walk from the bus stop to get to the cemetery. But Clive Burr, he's the drummer of Iron Maiden, is buried still in the cemetery. I haven't been to his grave yet, but I've been to that cemetery a few times because one of my cousin's grandparents is buried in the cemetery. But the cemetery is not really helpful. I mean, when I wanted to find where my cousin's grandparents were buried, they were like, here's a number you have to call up and it's going to cost a bit of money. So I'm kind of lucky Paul Di'Anno is buried in this small cemetery, like that, because it would be much easier to find. I mean, his tombstone was just put up there about a week or so ago. I'm just heading up north to the cemetery. I got off the bus stop a few stops early because I thought it's a nice day. I could do it with a bit of a walk, so I get myself fit and healthy. But yes, this is a part of London that I never really tend to venture out, even though this isn't my district and all, this isn't my borough, this is in East London, but I never come out here to shop or dine. When I come to think about it, I haven't been in this area in like over 2 years. Last time I came around this area would be like 2 years ago to get my phone fixed. And then also, I was last in this area 2 years ago visiting one of my cousin's grandparents' graves, as her grandparents are buried out here. Just getting near the cemetery, and funny thing enough, the Elizabeth line goes through here, but the cemetery is like over there. Quite an interesting place to be buried if you want trains to be coming by every day. Okay, this is a separate entry, and I finally found where Paul Di'Anno is buried. So you just go, like, from the main entrance, go around this corner, you see this big pile up over here, and then just passing through here, you see that Paul Di'Anno finally has a tombstone. Yes, just installed by his sister in recent times, in loving memory, Paul Martin Andrews, also known as Paul Di'Anno, 17th of May 1958, 21st October 2024, loving son and brother, gone is the face we love so dear, gone is the voice we love to hear. And seems like his sister has left this floral tribute to West Ham, and people have came with some flowers and all, so this is quite a really new plot of the cemetery and all, within those new fresh burials, so it's quite a really fitting place to see where he's buried. So from the main entrance, just don't follow the path to that church right there, just follow this path around here, past where it says Chapel View, and good old Paul is just right there.
Rest in peace, Paul. God bless.